Good afternoon students and welcome to today's lecture. The human body needs to perform several functions like respiration, excretion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, a few. These all the functions are performed by some specific units of cells called as the cell organelles. These cell organelles may be bounded by a membrane or they may be lacking a membrane. So today we will be dealing with one of the membrane bound organelles called as the mitochondria. These mitochondria was firstly observed in insect muscles by KOLLIKER in 1880. Later on, in 1882, Fleming called these filamentous or granular structures as FILA. Later on, in 1894, ALTMANN studied them in detail and called as BIOBLASTS. In 1897, the term mitochondria was firstly used by BENDA. And lastly, in 1904, these mitochondria were firstly observed in the plant cells and these were called as the chondriosomes. Now, what is the size and the shape of mitochondria? Actually, the shape of the mitochondria may be varying, ranging from the dumbell shaped, spherical, oval, cylindrical. Okay, now what is the size of the mitochondria? The size of the mitochondria, it ranges from 0.2 mm to 2 mm. These mitochondria actually are double membrane structure. The outer membrane is actually a porous membrane while the inner membrane is thrown into several folds and these several folds are called as the CRISTAE. Okay, so these CRISTAE, they consist of some minute dot-like structures, dot-like particles, and these dot-like particles are also called as the F1 particles or the oxysomes. Now what are the function of oxysomes or F1 particles? These oxysomes or F1 particles are responsible for carrying out the process of oxidation of food, that is also the liberation of energy. Okay, now due to the two membranes, the mitochondria consist of the outer chamber and another a fluid filled granular chamber called as the matrix. Then this fluid is called as the matrix in the inner chamber. Okay, now what happened besides these, the mitochondria, it also consists of some DNA molecules and ribosomes and some phosphate molecules. Now due to the presence of the DNA and ribosomes, the mitochondria, they can self-replicate. That's why these are also called as semi-autonomous bodies. Now the main function is carried out by the F1 particles or the oxysomes, which carry out the process of oxidation of food particles, which leads to the release of energy. What happens? These mitochondria are also called as the powerhouse of the cell. Okay, why? Because they have ATP. Here the ATP is formed. What is ATP? ATP. ATP is adenosine triphosphate. Adenosine triphosphate. Okay. What happens? Here the mitochondria consist of some phosphate molecules also and ATP molecules are also present. What happens? During the process, ADP plus phosphate molecules leads to the formation of ATP. Okay. This ATP is also called as adenosine diphosphate. Okay. So adenosine diphosphate means two phosphate molecules are there. When one more phosphate molecule is adding up here, it becomes 3. So it becomes adenosine triphosphate. Now what happens? Whenever the energy is needed, this ATP, it is breaking down into ADP plus phosphate molecule and plus a huge amount of energy is released, and this energy is used for various metabolic purposes which are used by the cells of our body. So this is how, and that is why the mitochondria are called as the powerhouse of the cells. This ATP molecules are also called as energy currency, like we have rupees in currency. So in terms of power, these are called as the power currency of the cells. So this was all about the mitochondria. I hope you like this section. Keep watching, share this video, stay home, stay safe. Thank you.